Hey guys, it's raining outside today, so I figured we'd do some stuff in the lab. So in this trek into DIY tech, we're going to look at the motor mounts on the ZD550 drone that we've been working on. I know it's been a while since the last video, probably not that long because time is not linear on YouTube. So it's probably only a few seconds for you. But here we go. Let's take a look at that. All right. So most of you that have seen the videos on the channel before, you know I built several drones, but this one has really become my daily driver. So I have a three-axis gimbal mounted on here that carries my 4K camera. And you know, just doing cinematic work and plus mapping. I do some mapping on GeoNadir. I'll put a link to that. You guys can see what GeoNadir is. It's pretty cool. And again, not advertising or anything for anyone. This is just things that I use, and so I'm sharing that with you. So if this is such a good drone as is, why are we changing it? So I'm going to show you what we've got going on here. So this frame, and I know a lot of you use it because it's a very inexpensive frame to put together. So the irony of this is the frame is inexpensive, but the motors and the ESCs that I'm using are KDE. I don't even know if they make these anymore. If they do, I'll put the link in the description. But this is powertrain is comparable to a Phantom 4, and so that's why I initially put this together. Frame is inexpensive, the drivetrain is slightly more expensive. But I'll show you what we're doing. So this has folding, some people call those arms. I call these booms. I don't know. At some point during the drone stuff that I've been doing, I got it from somewhere. I don't remember where, but I call these booms. But you can see here the motor mount. It's very easy to put together and put on there, but you can see that the motor mount brings the motor wires through here, and now it has a guard so that if you bump into anything, it's not cutting the wires, right? Because you have carbon fiber there, carbon fiber edge there from the tube. And even though, you know, it's been smoothed out, sanded down, polished, whatever, but it's still kind of a sharp surface. And then these wires, I've got enough to come down here, and you see the connectors there. And so when you do fold this up, the connectors wind up right there. I mean, the bullet connectors wind up right there. I don't really like that. So I'm going to put a different motor mount on here. So we're going to change that out. And the one that I have designed is less bulky than this. I'll show you in the CAD what it looks like and what I did to design this. So we'll cut to that now. And then we'll show you how they print up. So yeah, let's go to that. So here you are. We're just gonna get rid of all this stuff. I like to model everything so I can see where everything fits. But we're just gonna look at before I do that, there is a component that we haven't explored yet. It's this LED and this lens cover here for it. We'll add that later once we have this in there and we know this motor mount works well. So let's open that one up. And you can see it's really only made of two components. It's made of the flat part that holds the motor and this barrel here. And so it's a fairly straightforward thing, but the thing is, so I should have made this a bunch of configurations, but I didn't. I just put these in here, and I just kind of
cut them off as I need them. The Sky RC motors have the same mounting holes, so it really turned out to not to matter to have extra configurations in there. But there you can see it's pretty straightforward. Let's take a look at, let's take a look at the drawing for that, so that you can see how we put that together. Yeah, let's go in and edit that so you can see the way that those are in there. All you really do is go into the usually have a mechanical drawing from the manufacturer of the motor. You can pick up the hole patterns from that, and then for the different configurations, I just go in, copy this same sketch, and then I apply the different dimensions to it. So as you change these dimensions, these two are the same distance from the center, and these two are the same distance from the center. So it's very parametric in that fashion. The other important thing to look at is when you go ahead and slice this up. So I'm doing that at 60. Yeah, doing 60% infill. You can see where all the supports are, or where the suggested supports are. You see this in red. We'll do a preview so you can see where the supports are, but the orientation of this is also important because you want the layer lines. The way I designed it, the layer lines go across the barrel here, and it goes across where the motors or the screws are going to compress the layers into the bottom of the motor. It does create a weak point here for this flexing up and down because the layer lines are across here, but I made it pretty thick there to mitigate that a little bit. And then the forces are going to be acting where you see the supports here, so it's going to actually be pushing onto the tube. So hopefully, well, I already know it works. We've used this motor mount in other drones before, and it works perfectly fine. Now we have the carbon fiber in there though, so should be even better. We'll see. The other thing is, so let's look at the preview and you'll see where the supports come up. So it's pretty minimal there. It's not too bad with the supports. As we're going to test how easy it is to pull these supports out of there. But yeah, that's it. So let's go to the actual part and take a look at that.
That came out pretty easy. Alright, so this is what they look like coming off the 3D printer. So again, this is just no advertisement. This is just what I'm using. This is hadn't used this before. It's the first time using this. But this is the Hyper PLA carbon fiber filled. Purple. Got purple by mistake. Because they have different colors that they supply that in. I meant to get black, but the default selection was purple, and I was so excited I just went ahead and clicked buy on that one. But it's kind of cool because now I can tell which one the carbon fiber parts are just by looking at them, because everything else I print in regular PLAs, black, white, or red. So yeah, let's take this to the bench and see how we pop off some of the supports there. See how easy it is to get those off. All right. Please forgive the noise from the rain. It started picking up again. Doesn't look too bad. So looks like this and be careful with this because this feels like it's sharp. So have my full complement of tools here. Don't know if I'll have to use all of this, but this is a cool one because it's got this profile, right? So it's round on the top. This allows me to clean out the round surface on the inside because I was making stuff like this that I use a lot of carbon fiber tubing, and so I'm always printing stuff that is, oh, that came off pretty. It feels like it's more brittle than the regular PLA. So maybe that translates into higher strength. We'll see. Here, let me cut off the 3D printer. There we go. That should cut down on the noise there. All right, so let's start by removing all of this material. Yeah, collapses pretty good. Give it a little twist and see. Let's go. It's coming pretty good. All right, I'm gonna collapse this side, so hopefully I can pull it through the back side. So this is where the cables are gonna go through, as I showed on the cab model. Oh, nice. Very nice. I like that. So obviously it's a combination of settings on the on your slicing software. But this material, since it's a little more brittle, it looks like the interface between the part and the support material separates pretty easily. So that's, oh man, that's beautiful. I like that. Okay, pretty good. All right, so far so good. I'm gonna take off some of this support material here. Oh yeah, that's peeling away quite nicely. Yeah, so I'm doing this real time so you can get a sense of. By all means, if you don't, you can skip ahead. But I'm giving you a real time, what it is taking to get all this support material off of here. So I'm just pushing on that with the flat side of that, and yeah, it's popping off pretty easily. Good deal. Oh, so all right, so yeah, it looks pretty good. All right, so what we're gonna do next is we're gonna weigh the two motor mounts. Yeah, we'll compare the weight and see if we saved any weight by creating this design. Okay, got that set to grams, which is the standard unit of drone creation, I guess. Oh man! All right, so what we're gonna look at now is we're gonna set it down, and so it cleaned up pretty nicely. Yeah, cleaned up really nicely. So I usually design these with to be really tight, and then take some sandpaper and finish it up the rest of the way so that it'll slip on the carbon fiber tube. So a critical thing, right, are the holes for the motor. So for mounting the motor. So as I said, the cables go through here. They're going to go through the carbon fiber tube all the way through to the end. But let's check and see what that looks like. I'll see if we can see that in there. Yeah. So look at that. The holes line up. So let's see, and we'll twist it a little bit to make sure we're correct. Yep. Okay. There you go. Yeah. Holes line up. Great. So awesome. Now the next thing is, which is critical for right, if you're running on a battery, which most of us are, what's the weight of this new one compared to this one? So we'll throw that up on the scale, and let's see, we're reading 22 grams on there. So let's see what we've got here. 14. All right. That's all. Ooh, 13. 14, 13. It's right on the edge. 13.5. We don't have any decimals. So, that's pretty significant there. So, right, 6 grams. That's something. 6 over the 4. So that gives us savings of one of these motor mounts, 24 grams. That's awesome. Yeah, I'll take that. So, all right. Next step is we're gonna see how one of these goes onto the drone actually. So let's go put that on there. All right. All right. So all of these are nice and sanded down and everything, so they go on. They're still snug, but you know, they go on. So they've all been adjusted. Now the next thing that we're going to look at is because of the fact that we had the way these motor mounts were on there, the motor winds up being far back from the tip of this boom. So in order to make the new motor mounts work, we're going to have to cut this back here so that the motors wind up pretty close to where they were originally. One thing is, I don't want to, so when I set up the flight controller, I adjust the geometry and I set up the distance of the motors from the center of gravity in there. I don't want to change the settings in the flight controller because this drone is flying very well, so I don't want to make any adjustments to that. I'd rather make the adjustments to this. I can always get new carbon fiber if I want to put everything back the way it was. I don't foresee that. So I'm going to go ahead and mark these and cut them. I'm removing these from the drone so that as I'm cutting and doing all these things, I'm not damaging the drone, because the top cover, you know, this gets sandwiched between the top and the bottom plate, and all of that will cause cracks in the carbon fiber and all of that because it's not supported on both sides. But the other thing is, this almost touches when the boom folds down. You'll see on the drone when it folds down like this, this winds up right above where the landing gear is. So we want to keep this shorter and not make it longer, so that when we do fold it up, they wind up about the same spot. But you'll see that later. So, all right, I'm gonna go cut these. I'll be back after I'm done cutting all these. Now, if you're cutting carbon fiber, be sure to wear eye protection, a mask, and gloves, because the dust and the fibers that come off of this can be nasty. So yeah, just be sure to wear all of your safety equipment. All right, let's take a look at how one of these goes together. I'm going to do one, and then I'll go ahead and do the rest off camera and show you what the result is on the drone. So we're going to take tape off of here. And so there's minimal finishing that's going to happen to this because we're gonna put the motor mount right over it. I'm gonna go ahead and twist that on until it seats. It's actually catching on there now. Oh, okay. Give me a second. I'm gonna have to sand a little bit more of that down, because now that we have a fresh amount of carbon fiber on there, it's not sliding on there like it was before. So be right back. Okay, so that didn't take too long there. we're going to go ahead and take a tap, and we're going to put a 3mm threads in there so we can put a socket cap screw. So we're going to hit, oh, okay, we're going to get another socket cap screw. And we're going to drill and tap that. So let me get the drill and the tap wrench. All right, here we go. So I printed it with a we don't have to do a pilot hole in there. I printed it with the hole there, so we're gonna just go right in there, and be sure not to get your, it's not gonna go through all the way, but just be sure not to get your fingers anywhere where there's gonna be. That's all we need. And now we're just gonna tap that. Put that tap that I showed you guys earlier in a tap wrench, and we're just going to go ahead and go through there. So note that this will the carbon fiber is going to dull your tools, right? So whatever you use to cut and tap holes and all of that, it's going to kill the edges on your tools. Have a set of tools that's set aside just for working with your carbon fiber. Same thing with the waste, right? You have a set aside somewhere where you securely dispose of the carbon fiber dust like that, because yeah, it will it will creep up on you. So now I'm going to show you something cool that maybe you haven't done before. Whenever I'm working on any aerial vehicles or anything that needs some screws that do not need to come apart easy through vibration or otherwise, I put some thread locker on there, or some people just go by the brand name Loctite, but I use a bottle cap. So I have this old Coca-Cola bottle cap, and I use that in conjunction with the. So I just put the screw on the Allen wrench. I hold it like so, and then I just dip the end in there like this, and it just makes it easy to, instead of trying to use that little tube to apply it, because what happens is, yeah, and it'll work with the PLA and the, as a matter of fact, the Loctite will hold the fibers on the carbon fiber together. So, all right, we've got that guy in there. Very nice, very nice. You can see in there's a few splinters. We can cut those off. But there you go. There's number one. I've numbered all of these, numbered the motors, and numbered the spots on the drone where they go, so that I can put this back together as close to the way it was, and that way, you know, everything stays good with all the vibration plots and all that stuff. So now let's test to see if we can get the screws into the motor. So that just goes in there like so. Hopefully it'll come out of the other end easy. Yeah, it does. Let's nope, that didn't help. Bring them one by one up this way. Maybe it does help. Hold on. Let's see. I'm forgetting how I did this the last time. I think I used the tweezers on it. Yeah, we'll get the tweezers. Hold on. We'll get the tweezers on that. And obviously when we put it on the drone, it's probably gonna go through a whole different way there. but let's get these pulled through. Got 1, 2. Where's number 3? Of course, number 3 is going to want to go a different way, right? I'm sure somebody's screaming at the screen right now going like, there's an easier way to do that. All right. Three hours later. Seriously? Oh, there we go. Haha. All right. All right, let's see. We're going to try one of the screws to see how this lines up. So now, the important thing with this is these are not the right length screws, so I'm going to go and get the bag with the right length screws. Give me a second. All right, so what I'm going to tell you is there are coils inside of here. So you want screws that are going to come through the motor mount, but are not going to go so far into the motor as to hit the coils inside. And so these are at that length, as you can see, just enough to grab the motor. So let's line up the holes there and see what that does. And look at that. So let me twist this a little bit. Boom. That's nice. Boom, get it. All right. So there you go. So that's how that's going to go together. I'm going to do that another 4 times and we'll see you on the other side. 3 times. Sorry. 4, 1, 2, 3. Yep. All right, guys, you can see that's back on there. Everything's still all blown up because I don't have the top plate back on or anything like that. But you can see there. Well, I'll turn the camera so you can see it from the other angle and see what I was talking about with the clearance on these and why we had to cut this back. So yeah, hold on. All right. There you go. If you can ignore the mess behind there. So when I let this down, you're going to see how much clearance there is between there. And so I wanted to keep that amount of clearance between there and there. So yeah, that's it. I mean, that's what we were trying to accomplish. They look pretty good. I like it. I wasn't sure how, the red, so this is regular PLA, and this is the carbon fiber infused stuff. So I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about that purple and the red being on there, but with the black, I think it kind of works. All right, so that's it. I hope you found some of that useful. There you go. You don't have to be stuck with the motor mounts that came with this frame. Yeah, one last thing. I'm gonna do one last thing here, because I have some props. We're gonna see what the props look like on there with these colors. All right, there it is with the gray props. And there it is with white props. Let me know in the comments which set of props you think works best with it. I do think I'm going to switch from the red to the purple on the rest of the components, 3D printed components. So we'll see how that works out. But anyway, as always, I appreciate the time you spend with me. and we'll see you in the next video.